Hey y'all, what's up? This is the I Just Think It's Funny podcast. I'm Destiny.
And I'm Briana, and we've got some things to get off our chests because sometimes you just gotta talk it out with your girlfriends.
My girlfriends. Yeah, we can't buy that song, so there's that. So let's do a quick little homegirl check-in. Girl, like, how you feeling?
I'm good. I'm just hot. It's 100 degrees on my side of town, and I'm sure it's even hotter where you are. But yeah, I am very hot. I wish it would just rain for like a couple of days just for some relief. But other than that, I am good.
Okay. I'm very hot out here in the valley. Today's high is, I believe, it's a 118 according to the weather app. So I don't do anything outside for the next couple of days, but that's fine. But outside of that, I'm doing pretty good. There's a lot going on this week, so we definitely have a lot to cover today, which is exciting, but at the same time, it's just a lot of mess. So I'm a little confused about what everybody's doing out here. Like, what y'all doing? Y'all supposed to be in the house. I know it's a holiday weekend, but y'all supposed to be in the house. Okay. Wait, say that again?
They are not in the house.
Mm-mm.
The weekend, people have flown in, people are flying out, Vegas is packed. It's just the whole thing. The beaches are packed.
Atlanta is packed. I've seen so many people up in Atlanta. Like, I just saw this one girl on Instagram fly to Atlanta, and I saw this other girl's Instagram story in the club in Atlanta, and I'm looking, it's packed. She in a section. Nobody got no mask on. Everybody drinking, smoking, twerking, poking, whatever in the background. And I'm like, so when is Corona gonna ever end? When? Never?
This entire time, Atlanta has been on its own planet. It's like its own place where Corona does. It's like a bubble where they just kind of act like it doesn't exist, and nothing has changed for them. Nothing has changed for them. They were down for a couple of weeks. Couple of people couldn't go to work and stuff. Everybody is back into the full swing of summer, like nothing is happening. It's crazy.
And they wonder why I'm like, am I coming home for the holidays? I'm like, y'all are playing. Like, my family and stuff, they're fine, but like as far as like everybody else, I'm like, I gotta get on a flight and be in the airport with this foolishness of people coming in from doing all that. Nah, it might be a ho holiday by myself. Period. But it's crazy. What was the craziest thing that's happened in the last, like, I think it's been a little bit over a week since Chadwick Boseman passed away. That's just been wow. Like, we were at the beach when we found that out last week. So, whew.
It was really sad for like the first few days. Just like, I tried not to be on social media as much because it was just like post after post, and I was just like, this is just so sad. And then like my nephew, he's 3, and of course he doesn't know the concept of death and stuff like that, but he is a huge Black Panther fan. He has the pajamas, he has the billion toys, his room, everything is Black Panther. And so it was just sad to like look at him still carrying on with life and not really aware of what's going on. But yeah, it was just crazy. It was a very crazy week just dealing with that.
Right. And just seeing, like, especially with the impact of the kids, it's one thing for us to be like grown and finally see like a Black superhero on screen, but to see back then when it came out, like all the little kids like dressing up as Black Panther, even like non-Black kids dressing up, he had a huge impact on the generations that are a little bit behind us, but they're going to remember growing up and seeing someone who wasn't white as always being like the superhero, which, and I don't want to like limit Chadwick's accomplishments to just Black Panther. That's just the most recent one and the most widespread one. But, he gave us 42. That's when he was really on my map. I was like, okay, Jackie Robinson.
I did not, but he played the heck out of James Brown.
See, I didn't really like that movie, but we're not going to talk about it. But yes, he did great. As a whole, I did not like that movie. It's okay though.
All right, guys. Sorry, we had some technical difficulties. But yeah, just reflecting on Chadwick's life and his contribution to the arts and to the culture and all of his wonderful roles that he's played. Jackie Robinson, James Brown, Black Panther, a few other people. I think he played Thurgood Marshall, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not sure, actually. I can look that
He
up
did.
just so we but continue. I'll let you know if he did.
But yeah, so my thoughts and prayers go out to his family and friends, especially. I can only imagine. Yeah, and I hope that like this quarantine was a good thing for them to, maybe slow down and be with him in his last days. I think it probably caused them to really become even closer. So thoughts and prayers to his family and friends.
For sure. Yeah, you're right about him playing Thurgood Marshall. That is correct. I have not seen that movie, so that's on the to-do list as well to do. But yeah, I'm gonna agree with you on that. And hopefully these last like 5 months really allowed his family, like you said, to come together, spend those last moments. Because what if he had a project planned? If this didn't happen, he probably would have not been able to spend those moments with his family. So
yep.
Sometimes, there's a blessing in, unfortunate events. Like the blessing in that is that they spent time with them, hopefully, But we're going to take things back to just the lighter side of things a little bit and talk about this Brandy versus Monica versus that happened this past week. Because, the internet was up and running. They was talking, y'all was throwing shade and, investigating body language up here. I didn't know the FBI has so many investigators out here on the web, but, that's what y'all was doing.
I don't think that it needed as deep dive as people took it. Searching for the shade. We all saw it. We all heard it. A lot of it was on Brandy's part. But I also think that that's kind of her humor also. Like, they have very different humors, I notice. They're not alike. And that reflected.
I'm going to agree. I just couldn't get myself to stay for all 4 hours, if I'm being honest.
It was 3.
However long it was. I was actually working at the time of the actual live situation, so I popped in here and there. So I was watching a little bit before we started recording. And, just the beginning, it seems like it was, very friendly and everything. And, they mentioned that they had a conversation beforehand, which I was like, y'all came to each other woman to woman. I'm here for it. Woman to woman. Like, people are too grown to be having, all this hostility towards each other from when they're either teenagers or early 20s. Like, we got kids. Like, you know what I mean? So, and then I don't even understand how they stayed away from each other so long. Because I think they had said, I think Monica was like, oh yeah, we had to come do this. It's been 8 years since we've been in the same room. I'm like, how? Out of all the things that happen in the industry, Black Hollywood is tiny. So how y'all end up not being in the same room for 8 years? Do you know how much energy you have to pour in to avoid someone this small of an industry?
They've probably been at the same events. I think the same room was an exaggeration.
I don't know. Monica seemed like she really be about that life. Like, when she means something, she mean it.
Yes. But hey, shade aside, this was my favorite versus. like music wise, this was my favorite. Second favorite was the Erykah Badu and Jill Scott. But this one for me, like, I just love their music so much. And it was just so nostalgic. And then like going back on Spotify and like looking at the playlist and listening to it all the way through, I was just like, it was just a good time for me. I had a great time.
I enjoyed the 30 minutes that I watched because I can't sit around for the hours. I can't. Like, it just, I feel like the fun of Versus has been gone. Like, the magic of it at the beginning with, like, T-Pain, and I can't remember who he went against, but, like, that just felt fun. Like, now it feels like, oh, I gotta go get dressed up to go to the living room to go watch it. And, like, I feel like even the celebrities and the artists who are doing it, they're making it this whole shebang, and it's like, Versus started out fun. Now I feel like it has to be, let's address the elephant in the room. And, you know, which is fine with Brandy and Monica. I don't mean that as shade towards them, but it's like, I just feel like any of the artists following since, when did it like step up? I think it stepped up, was it, I think the last like real Versus was Teddy and
Come on.
Baby.
Okay. And
But
that's my point.
He started it with getting a whole shebang because this man ruined the homegrown feeling of Versus by having technical difficulties. They had to freaking reschedule. And then two, like he up here got his homie in the back dancing to the music, DJ, whoever. And it's like, my guy, Babyface is in his little home studio with his guitar.
That was a hot mess. However, I am glad that the past few verses have been with the people in the same room. Yeah, it's become kind of more of a production, but to be honest, like, I'd rather no technical difficulties. I don't want to be switching between your profile, the Versus profile, the Monica profile, the Brandy like, I don't care. If it has to be a production and it's done well, then so be it. I do like the, you know, the beginning ones where it felt like they were just literally in their living room or studio or whatever. That was cute, but I don't want to have technical difficulties. I just want to watch it. I just want to watch it all the way through. So if, you know, if you got to be in the same room to do it, then so be it. The past few have been great. We haven't had many audio problems.
I will agree with that, yes. But like, I've just lost interest in them, honestly. Like, I don't think I've watched the last couple of verses. Like, I kind of missed this one. I think the one before this one was what's that man's name? Rick Ross. Rick Ross, and was it 2 Chainz?
I don't even know that one existed.
That was the Rick Ross one because he had this girl massaging him. Like, there was this one time this girl came in and gave him a massage. Like, I get all my replays on like Twitter.
That doesn't even sound like something I would have been interested in, so I probably saw it and kept scrolling.
Yeah, that was the one. What was the one before that?
The DMX Snoop Dogg one.
I did not watch that either. I like watch replays. Bless you. Thanks. So it's just like I don't really have an interest anymore. I feel like they aren't listening to the people. The people are giving demands on who they think should go. You know, I actually saw a tweet, and I don't think it's serious. But it's funny, like, when you think about it, just for our generation or like our age group, somebody said that they should do mindless behavior versus OMG Girls.
I would not tune in.
I would not tune in either. However, bless you. However, you know, I feel like Versus should start listening. That's for the younger. That's like Generation Z, Gen Z. That's them. Why don't we do a Versus for them? I'm just saying.
That would be over in 5 minutes. No shade to both of them, but it would be over in 5 minutes.
But the people would like. Is Versus supposed to be 4 hours long? Because I don't have the attention.
It doesn't have to be 4 hours long. It's just people talk in between and give. If you're Brandy, you start writing poems and stuff. But I mean, I think you have to be of a certain caliber to make it interesting. Like, I think the criteria is like 20 hits or something. Like, if you got less than like 15, what are we doing?
But how many people in this industry that we actually care about have 20 hits.
Not many, which is why they're not doing verses.
Mm.
There's literally criteria. If you do not meet the criteria, you can't participate. You can have your own thing.
I mean, I guess, but then
I
if you
think
have your own
Trina and
thing,
Trick Daddy had their own thing that was aside from verses, but it was the same concept. Do your own thing.
I didn't even know about that.
So if OMG girls and mindless behavior want to link up and do that, go ahead.
I think I know 2 songs a piece for each group.
5 minutes. There you go.
What was the OMG girls? Oh, you know what song that went hard? I think I was like, whew, I was a teenager, but I was like, this song kind of cool. I heard it on 106 in Park. Gucci this, Gucci that. That song went hard. Okay, you couldn't tell me nothing. Just saying.
I don't know any OMG girl songs.
Oh, MG on everything. That's all I remember.
Ooh, child. Okay. So yes, you would be the one person in there rooting for
I'm not
OMG
watching
girls.
it.
You watching it. You watching it.
I am not watching
You
it.
are watching it.
I've seen them perform once. I've seen each of them perform once. Where was it? I went to the Scream tour. It was like Scream tour 15, 14. I think it was the last Scream tour that they did because the New Boys were supposed to be on it and they got kicked off because they fought with Hamilton Park or whatever. I don't know where that group is now. They fought.
Never heard
and
of
then
it.
They got kicked off. I didn't know no songs. But, you know, they was cool when I saw them perform. But I was there for Diggy Simmons. Anyway, that's all. Diggy
Well,
Simmons.
I vote for Mariah Carey and Mary J. Blige to be on the next verses.
What?
Yep.
Okay.
They're equivalent. They got hit.
Equivalent to what? Like, hold on. I love both of them. So I don't mean that in the shadiest way at all. I feel like Mariah, her audience is different than Mary's.
You think so? I think they're the same.
I don't, because Mariah crosses more over to our non-melanated population a little bit more. She stretches over there.
Well, who would compete with Mariah? Who's in her lane? Who's alive?
I don't.
Mary J.
Yeah, no.
She's the only living person.
No, but what makes you think Mary J. Blige competes with Mariah Carey?
She got hit. She got the vocals, the longevity.
That's not enough.
I don't know anyone else who can compete.
Because I'm thinking of like the style of their music, the material, like who they worked with, and the crossover, like the extent of like their audience. Like I feel like if you ask a white person, and I have to, oh my God, I forgot, this just brought back a memory from high school. I remember somebody in my class was like, who is Mary J. Blige? So that proves my point. I don't think she crosses over. Like, you know, Sister Girl,
it's
MJB.
Okay.
I don't think so. I think they wouldn't even be on the same concert lineup. Like, I think that's kind of how we have to think.
Yes, they would.
No, okay. If there was a tour, they would not be on the same tour.
Why not?
It's so different. Like the vibe, it attracts different. They both attract different audiences.
Like, they attract me. I'm the same audience.
You a hybrid though, sis. You got a little. You ride both lanes, you know.
Oh, come! You would be there too. You like both of them.
I like both of them, but I like Mariah Carey more. Does that make sense?
Are you serious?
I've seen both of them perform. And last year I saw Mary J. Blige with the BET Experience. Super, it was cool, but like I wasn't into it. I realized I don't know as much of her music as everybody else because, you know, her audience is a lot of the auntie mamas. Shout out to the auntie mamas. You were not an auntie mama. You were pre-auntie.
I listened to auntie mama music. I was at Mary J. Blige's concert circa 2007.
Okay.
Living my best life.
And that's good. However, you would be at her concert. Like, the lineup for Mary J. Blige would be like Faith Evans, Keisha
She
Cole.
doesn't have enough. Not enough.
But no, I'm saying if they were on a tour together, that's what the tour would be. Keisha Cole, Monica, you know? Mariah, she on the tour by herself.
The only other person would be like a J-Lo.
Girl, do you want J-Lo to be embarrassed?
I don't think it would be embarrassing. I wouldn't put them two together, but the only person I could think of who could compare with the hits would be her.
I don't think anybody can compare with Mariah Carey. And I'm not a huge Mariah Carey fan. I just say that in the sense of like all of the things that she has given us, like I don't see anyone else being able to hold weight against her. Like Emancipation of Mimi, that's your 12, 13 songs right there. And then she got other albums and other singles that just bop, bop, bop.
So Mary you're J. saying Blige, no one can do it with her?
Nobody.
Maybe Beyonce, but we know Beyonce ain't gonna do this.
That would be the only person. Beyonce and Mariah Carey. That's it. That they have their own unique, like, superstar quality. And I can't exactly name what it is, but it's like they've reached past our community and past like the general US kind of thing and reached the world.
Okay.
Like you don't hear about, you know, Mariah Carey got her lambs. That's what she calls her fan club. Beyonce got the Beehive. What does Mary J. Blige have? Like, what is her fan group?
Her loyal fans.
And that's great, but I'm saying like the fact that we can name these things, like, I don't know.
I don't care about stardom. I'm looking at facts. I'm looking at hits.
About stardom, though.
Yes, you are. You looking at like who has a global reach and impact. I'm not looking at that. I'm looking at music. I'm looking at strictly the music. I don't care about your stardom, what you bring to the table. I'm looking at the music.
Okay, then answer this. Name 20 Mary J. Blige songs right now.
I can't name off the top of my head. To be honest with you, I couldn't.
But do you think you have 20?
Yes.
Interesting. Okay.
I do. I have 20.
Unless you said you're going off of facts, so I'm waiting for you to give them to me.
I wasn't ready with the facts, but I do have 20 hits.
Okay.
But you don't know all the Mary J. I don't know all the Mary J. songs, but I know a very, very good chunk of them.
Okay, name ones that you know then. Let's just see how many you know.
I'm not doing this with you. We got a whole agenda.
I'm just saying.
We got a whole agenda.
Like, I love Mary J. Blige too, but it's just like, I just don't think they could work together on a versus. It just cannot.
Okay.
That's inviting two different aunties to the cookout.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. And none of this is meant with shade, y'all. Like, we love them. We ain't said nothing that would make y'all think that, but we just want to make sure we clarify that this is not with shade. This is just hypothetical. Okay, well, that's cool. You know, we're gonna agree to disagree on that. That's fair. And then, you know, speaking of shade throwing, somebody's president. I don't know who president it is, but Trump. It came out, someone who I guess had interviewed him or something, said that he had hired a Obama impersonator so he can berate him and tell him that he is fired. In quotations, you're fired, like as if he's on his show that he had on NBC. What's wrong with him?
Okay, well, first, let me just clarify. This is a video that was supposed to use at like the Republican convention years ago.
Really?
Yeah, so this is an old video, and it has resurfaced because what's his name, Michael Cohen, decided to bring it out of the woodworks because he has a book that's out. So this is a salacious thing to promote his book. Mm-hmm. This is an old video. Mm-hmm. Nothing about this surprises me. Donald Trump is a caricature. The "you're fired" thing, that was his. Releasing this now doesn't make sense. So when I first heard about this, I'm like, why who cares about Barack Obama? But it makes sense. This was back when this was relevant. This is back when he was trying to gain votes. So "you're fired" was his catchphrase. So nothing about this surprises me. I think it's funny. And I don't know, Donald Trump, I don't take a lot of things he says seriously, because why would you make a video like that if you want to be taken seriously as a president?
But he doesn't want to be taken seriously. Like,
He
I
does
think
want to be taken seriously.
well, let me say this. His serious is different than our serious. Just like his great America that he's trying to make is different than what making America great actually is. So I just think that the guy who was releasing this book, does he like Trump? Let me first ask that
No,
question.
he got fired.
Okay, so this is like a little smear campaign. This could help. You know, a lot of people liked Obama, and are very sensitive. I think those 8 years we had him, we took a lot of ownership of him. Like, he was our president. Like, that was, people walked around saying that's my president. So this might help. This might rally the troops a little bit. And it could help Trump too a little bit, because his people can remember, oh yeah, this was when, he saved us from back when we had Obama. So it could, benefit him. Not saying it's gonna make him win, please Jesus, but please don't win. But it could help or hurt either side, honestly.
I don't think it's gonna have that much of an impact. I just thought it was a funny way for him to promote his book.
Feel like I ain't looking at it impacting us at all.
No, it's silly. It's silly.
I mean, I think we're at the time. It's September, like October, November. Like, the election is literally basically a month and a half. No, 2 months away. 2 months away. I'm just saying safely 2 months away. 2 months away. So anything that comes out on either party, this is a sensitive time. The people are in a state of panic. We're in a pandemic. People ain't got no jobs. People ain't got no money. They try to figure out who's going to help them in this situation. So if you got a president yelling at a literal dump, well, it wasn't a mannequin. For some reason, I was thinking the man was the mannequin. It was a person. My bad.
It was a real person.
A real person. I'm sorry, sir.
How much did he get paid? That's what I want to know.
I was going to say, like, I hope you got your coin, because now we never going to forget. Well, good thing his name isn't out here, because that would just be bad for him. I'm just call him Jeremy. He just seemed like he would be a Jeremy. Jeremy, I hope you were living well. I hope that fed your family, because I hope Trump paid him good. Like, he should have paid him a nice little penny. But I feel like Trump don't be paying people. I feel like that's going to come out soon. He don't be paying people that well.
Well, you gonna have to pay me if you want me to impersonate my president on camera.
But then I think about it, maybe they had to find a particular impersonator who did not like Obama. Like, I can't imagine.
If the price is right, I don't think people change when money is involved. People change. Your values get a little fuzzy.
They do. However, I think you got to be real kind of special if you like the president that is coming out of office enough to do work with someone who is constantly talked about this president, said he wasn't born here, all kinds of different things. You got to be a special kind of person to take a check and willingly do that, and then be like, oh, that's my president. No.
You know who would do it?
Who?
And I mean all the shade. You know who would do it?
I'm scared. No.
Terry Crews. He would. Moving on.
I think he liked Obama, but whatever. We're gonna not even. Anyways. Woo. That was a curveball. And you know what else was a curveball? When Dancing with the Stars announced their lineup. I haven't watched Dancing with the Stars in years. I think the last time I watched it, Corbin Bleu was on it. And I don't know how long ago that was. Actually, maybe. I don't know. Who knows? I watched it then. I do know that for sure. When Zendaya or something. But Dancing with the Stars is really trying to survive, because I know their ratings had dropped at one point. And they done changed up everything. We talk about from head to toe. So the first they get rid of the host. And the host is now Tyra Banks. I love me some Tyra. But I just think it's interesting. I just wouldn't put her as the host of Dancing with the Stars. Like, it just feels off brand to me for her and for them. But you know what? I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she'll do good. I don't know. But that's not the biggest announcement out of what I just said. Our good sis, Carol Baskin.
Carol Baskin.
Killed her husband, whacked him. She's on the cast. We got sister girl, Sky Jackson. You know, she's for Gen Z. I see where they're going for that. I see they're trying to grab one, but I'm like, what Gen Z has cable? Maybe their parents. Their parents probably do. Yeah, thought about that. AJ McLean. You
He's
know, that's, I mean, he's a dancer. Yeah, like, he was up there, you know. Jenny Mai. I feel
Jenny
like Mai. Okay, there we go.
Jenny Mai from The Real.
Yeah. Yeah, I know who she is, but I just didn't want to like pronounce her last name, well, middle name or ending name, wrong, because you know Ella May is spelled the same way, but she's Ella May. You know, Jenny Mai. Jenny Mai, but then it's Ella May, you know. And then we got Mr. Hot in here himself, Mr. St. Louis, Nelly.
Oh my
and then we
God, that's about to be a hot mess. Don't he just look like he would be like heavy-footed, like he couldn't be light on his feet when he danced? I can't. Was he gonna be stomping in his Air Force Ones? Like, I can't see him like dancing gracefully.
You know what? I haven't seen Nelly in the public eye in a minute, but you know,
he's also like a big guy. Like, I can't.
But you know those football players. What's his name? But
the football players are light on their feet.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, if we're talking about size, what's the man?
But they know how to handle their weight.
I mean, Nelly, I don't know. He said, "Shake your tail feather. A feather is light."
He wasn't shaking his tail feather.
He got the idea from somewhere. And then Neve from Catfish. Or Neve. Is it Neve?
I didn't even know Neve was on there.
Yeah.
Come on. That is so random.
This whole cast is random. I mean, there's more people. I just didn't know who they were. But I just
there's like 5 more people.
Yeah, but I feel like these were the people, like, you know, we would know and would talk about.
I think if I'm not mistaken, the figure skater, forgot his name. I think he's on the lineup, and which was really, they always throw some people on there that like seem like an unfair advantage. Like, why would you throw a figure skater like that? I just feel like that's an unfair advantage. Like, it's very close to dance.
I mean, it is, but gravity, you know, is different on the ice versus on the hardwood floor.
I guess. I don't know.
All I'm saying is, if Neve, you know, want to get some extra brownie points, he needs to figure out if Carol Baskin killed her husband.
He about to come out with a documentary. But how are they doing this? Like, are they gonna shoot this like separately?
I think they're probably quarantining people. You know, a lot of shows are filming now too, so I don't know, maybe quarantining. And it's been some weird stuff taking place on set. I saw, and you sent it to me, with the mannequin,
oh my God.
One day at a time, whatever it's called, Once Upon a Day.
Yeah, that soap opera. Oh boy, gonna be kissing a mannequin because of COVID. But it just looks stiff. They didn't even try.
They have the hair right. I commend it.
But it was all shiny and stuff. I was like, like the head like didn't move. Like, it was just.
It was like him just standing there. It was like cut cheek. Issa's reply.
That poor guy.
He replied to her tweet. I have to pull it up. It was Issa. I love her. Like, firsthand, Issa is my girl forever. Anyone that knows me knows I love Issa. Issa and I should be friends. I'm just saying. Let me see. I can pull it out real quick. it does have like some explicit content, but what I will say, here's what it said in the clean version of it. Let me swipe back. She said with the quote, with the tweet, she said, "I can't wait to read some mannequins this season. Hashtag insecure HBO."
Oh God.
And literally the replies are so funny. Like, you've seen these different pictures of mannequins, like the one where one of them is like pointing at one and one is like crying to the side. And somebody said, "Hey yo, my mannequin is a bad kisser." So, like, it's just so funny. I saw the guy, where did he go? He literally replied and he said something. He was like, "Yeah, I wasn't expecting that either." Something along those lines. And I was just like, dang, he done found out. He should have made this man go viral even more. He don't even know. Like, this man just trying to collect his coin, be safe for his family. Like, he out here kissing mannequins. Do they clean the mannequin? Like,
yeah, I hope they sprayed it down.
Right. I just have too many questions about that. Like, I see what the heart and intent was behind it. And if that's what we got to do to make sure our creative...
No, we don't got to do that. We don't
got to do... Okay.
Switch up the story. Switch up the story.
Make COVID-friendly scripts. But I mean, on a soap opera, it's all about the love and the passion and stuff. So they got to be touching each other or fake touching each other.
I get that, but it looks fake.
Look, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's a sign we need to stop touching each other on TV. Like, this isn't your wife. This isn't your girlfriend. Y'all don't know each other like that.
That's not going to happen.
Oh, I know. But, Lord.
One show I am looking forward to coming back is Girlfriends on Netflix on September 11th.
Mm-hmm.
I am overjoyed. Like, when I was younger, when Girlfriends was on, I never watched it, like, episode after episode. So there's so many holes in the story for me in my head. So I'm happy to be able to sit down and watch from start to finish so I can, like, make sense of it all. Because it's like, I know the characters, I know bits and pieces of their life, but I need to watch the whole thing.
I just remember watching it at a time that I shouldn't have been watching it. It's like your parents are watching it. It's 6 o'clock. I think at 6 o'clock, what would come on? Judge Mathis would come on first. Shout out to Judge Mathis, Greg. And that's funny. I remember we met him. That just like threw y'all. He was like, "I'm Greg." I'm like, "No, I'm just like."
I met a few celebrities in my day, and Judge Mathis is a highlight.
That is my favorite.
He literally was my childhood, so it was a moment.
It was. And when he told me his name was Greg, I'm like, no. Judge Mathis, it's nice to meet you.
Greg? Like,
Greg, who is that? You better get this, Your Honor. You better get this respect, okay?
I think of Judge Mathis as, like, friends of my grandparents. Like you know.
He's not that old. He is not that old.
I think of him as friends of my grandparents. Like,
he's not that old, though. He's not that old.
I never call him Greg.
Yeah, I appreciate the friendly aspect of it. Just I can't call him Greg. It's Judge Mathis forever. Like, I grew up sitting at the kitchen table watching Judge Mathis.
Yes.
That's it. UPN, Judge Mathis, and Girlfriends came on. So it's like I was always watching it. My dad would pick me up from like aftercare or whatever, or after school, and we go home. He would cook his baked chicken with Zataran's rice. I always remember this, and Glory collard greens. Hate those to this day. And we would sit there, and I would be begging to watch Disney Channel and That's So Raven, but he would make me sit there and watch Judge Mathis, and then Girlfriend. So I got pieces. I don't know if we watched it every day or every. Did it come on Wednesdays or Tuesdays? Maybe even Mondays. Whatever. Every time it came on, but I kind of followed the trend. Like, I knew that Maya, what's her man's name? Jabari? Or that the son's name was Jabari? Wasn't it? I can't remember. But I just knew Joan and dang, Maya. Wait, Maya is the one. Which one is the mean friend?
Isn't it Maya?
Tony. No, Maya was the one who was basically like the friend who's still trying to get her life together, you know, all that stuff, but worked as like Joan's assistant at one point.
See, this is why I gotta watch it.
Tony is the friend who everybody says Yvonne Orji and the lady who does play Tony, they do kind of look alike, and their characters are very similar in the show. So those two, and then you had Lynn, who was like the boho chic, free spirit girl, and then I think that's all of them. And then you had William. William was the guy best friend, and then you had Joan with a couple of her different men that would pop in. So it was good. Like, I learned about a lot of things at a young age. Like, just learning like the different issues that, you know, friends have. Like, I just remember thinking Tony was the meanest person. Like, I thought she would just, you know, belittle Joan. And now I want to look at these with adult eyes. I'm very curious to see. Because it's different. Like, you know what else was different? Watching The Game all over again.
Mm-hmm. I watched some of it recently. I can't get into all of it. I didn't realize I love The Game, you know, up until a certain season. I did really enjoy The Game, but watching it back, some of the episodes, I'm like, some episodes are just too corny for me. Some of it's just too corny. I'm like, oh God, this is a lot.
Yeah, because you know that's like the spinoff and everything, and it's also like in that big roundup of all like the Black shows hitting Netflix now. And I was watching it before they made the announcement on Hulu, because Hulu actually has all of the seasons, I think 1 through 8. I stopped about after season 5. It just was not my taste. But watching it, I realized how immature these two were. Like, I didn't realize at the time, they're like our age now. So I'm thinking like growing up, I don't know how old I thought they were, because I was like middle school when I was watching this. And I thought they were in their 20s, but now that I realize that they're like our age, I'm like, oh, this makes sense why they was having all these issues. Like, they fresh out of college, and even the years like after.
She was literally in med school.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, I didn't realize like she was really like, maybe she might have been 22 at the beginning of that. Probably. Like when the show first started, 22, maybe 23. And for some reason, I thought they were so grown and had their life together as a kid. And now I'm like, oh, no, sis, there's so much I wouldn't have done.
I think you only thought that because Derwin was an athlete, so he had money. So the whole show was elevated, right? The characters were actually really young. But because they had money and lived in high rises and nice apartments and went to luxury hotel rooms, it made them seem older.
That's true. Because I'm like, I'm where they at now. I think I'm a little bit older than when I think when the season started. But I'm like, my life don't look like that. What is this luxury high rise? In LA? In California, period? Weird.
Yeah.
No. And so speaking of these shows that are hit Netflix, I want to see, you know, which one gotta go. Because I saw this on Twitter. This is not me and my thoughts. Someone listed these 4 shows and they said which one you gotta go. So I'm gonna ask you which one gotta go, and we're gonna talk about it. We back, y'all, again. Got another little set of technical difficulties, but we back. We steadfast. So we picked up at with The Game, One Gotta Go. So these shows were on Netflix or either are on Netflix, or actually maybe not. One of them, excuse me, wasn't. But it's like classic Black TV sitcoms. All right, so I'm gonna tell you. You ready? This is gonna be a little tough one.
Okay.
A Different World. That's So Raven. Moesha. And Sister Sister. One gotta go.
A Different World, That's So Raven, Moesha, and what was the other one?
Sister Sister. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Don't Come After Me.
I feel like I know, excuse me, which one you're gonna pick. So go ahead.
But just based off of the impact on my life,
I feel like I know which one. I already know.
Great. But based off of the impact of my personal life.
Share your truth, sis. Share it. Get it off your chest. I already know.
Moesha gotta go. Moesha
I
gotta
said
go.
the same thing. I said the same thing.
If I were older, I probably would kick out That's So Raven if I were older. But That's So Raven for me was the Moesha for other people. You know what I mean? So like I watched Moesha, but I resonated more with Raven because I was closer to her age at the time that it was on, if that makes sense.
It makes a whole lot of sense. I kicked Moesha to the curb because I started watching it back on Netflix. And I didn't watch all of it, but I realized it wasn't hitting the same. Like I think I used to watch it like the replays and stuff because like BET would have it, TV One, whatever, those channels. And like I enjoyed it. And I realized I was watching it when I was like 14, 15 years old, besides like watching a little bit when it went off the air and all that stuff. And it wasn't hitting the same with me. Like I cringed at some of the jokes. And I was just like, ooh, that's a little, like, especially when they would make fun of, like, Kim's weight and stuff like that. I was just like, okay. But, I mean, I still like the show regardless. Like, it was a different time period. I think we have to think about that stuff when we're looking at art in the context of which things were, okay back then. Not to say like we make an excuse of like, especially like racist stuff. Like I'm never gonna be like blackface is okay, so I'm gonna enjoy this blackface movie. Like no, never gonna do that. But like when it comes to the types of jokes, people said like it's just a reflection. Art is just a reflection of the time that it is. So that's not the main reason why, but like it just wasn't hitting the same. It was not hitting the same at all for me. At like, I don't know. I really don't know why, but I literally said the same thing.
Yeah. I think out of all of the shows, for me, the most timeless show is A Different World. That's something that I could really sit and watch the whole thing through without being like, oh my gosh, this is corny or this is really exaggerated or something. All the other shows are very exaggerated.
Yeah, they are. Like, A Different World also just, it felt different. Like that's something I just remember waking up on Saturday mornings, waking my mom up and like popping over in her bed and turning on the TV, and that was the one on Saturday morning. And like we would sit there and watch it in our pajamas. So it's like I have memories attached with it. And then when I go back and watch the episodes, like it just seems timeless. Like, yeah, it's in a time capsule to an extent where it's like, okay, this is like the early 90s. So like you feel that, but the stuff still hit home. Like with Moesha, like, they talk about topics, but like the world is so different then. I feel like with the college experience, it doesn't really differentiate between generations, like besides the introduction of like technology and stuff like that. But college kids still go through the same things, just packaged a little bit differently. So that always just felt normal to me.
Yeah, and just the impact as a whole, just seeing an HBCU, even though it was fictitious, like just the whole concept is something we have not seen replicated.
It's true. Like they try it with what's that show that's on BET?
The Quad, that was pretty good.
I actually like The Quad. I enjoyed it for the most part. Like I knew a couple people on it, and I was like, oh, that's such and such, whatever. So like that was cool, and for them to be filming like at actual HBCUs in the AUC. Shout out to Atlanta, you know, Clark, Morris Brown, and Spelman, and Morehouse, like over there. So that was pretty cool to see. But outside of that, like there isn't a show with the HBO feel. I think people expected that from Grownish because the way they market it. The idea when it was first announced, they're like, "Oh, it's gonna be like a different world meets this," and I'm like, I don't feel a different world with this. It's a different world, but it ain't a different world.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
The embarrassed of the world.
it's a different world. I mean, Grownish is its own thing. I like Grownish where it's at now. The beginning, I was not the biggest fan, but I think the writing has taken a different direction, so I like it. It's cute. So, that's that. I'm glad we're on the same page though, because that is an unpopular opinion. I feel like somebody would have cut That's So Raven easily, or Sister they might have cut.
I honestly understand cutting any of them. If you don't resonate with it, I understand if you cut it.
Mm-hmm. I get it. And speaking of cutting and canceling, there's a new Rachel Dolezal on our hands. A new person, yes. But this person, I kind of respect her a little bit more than Rachel. Her name is what's her name?
Jessica Krug, I think.
Yeah, Jessica Krug. Now I don't understand she fooled all these people, because if y'all pull up a picture of her, come on, Rachel looked a little bit more believable to me than Jessica. But the thing about Jessica is, turns out she's been a professor at George Washington University. Turns out I have a classmate from high school who took her class. Found that out on Facebook the one time I popped on there. She was teaching, it says on the George Washington University page that her area of expertise is Africa, Latin America, imperialism and colonialism, African American history, and early modern world history. And apparently for the last however many years, she's been pretending to be a Black woman. She shifted on what type of Black she is, or was presenting to be. She started with North African, shout out to Egypt and all up in there. Then she wanted to be one of us, Black American. And then she said she was a Caribbean Bronx Black. So she was trying to impersonate like 3 different people. So she's trying to be from New York, but like I said, she's from Kansas. So I wonder how that voice works. I wonder. Yeah, you should probably have.
Well, they said during her class, like when she would be talking about like Latin America or like the Caribbean, like places like Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic, which she claimed she was from both, to 2 different students. She would throw in Spanish in there, just like randomly throw in some Spanish words to add a little bit of razzle dazzle on the conversation to make it seem more authentic.
Because that's how it be working too when you be talking to sometimes like Spanish speakers. They will throw a little Spanish.
She has studied people. She has studied people and tried to get, how they talk, the mannerisms. I'm sure she had it down pat, If you really study people, you can figure it out.
You know what? She should have been an actress. That's some method acting right there. It's some method acting.
Jennifer, I think this story.
You mean, is her name Jennifer? I thought her name was Jessica.
Jessica. Jessica. I think this story is a load of crap. If I'm not mistaken, she outed herself.
I actually read that on Medium. That's how it was first presented to me on Twitter. I read it. It's not that long. I thought I'd send it to you. But it's not super long.
I saw it. This is the thing. Some I really don't like about this Jessica chick, right? So like Rachel Dolezal claimed to be Black, and she was the president of her chapter of an NAACP. I think she was also a professor, yada yada yada. She went to an HBCU. Okay. When I think about Rachel, I think about someone who clearly has a mental something going on. There's
Mm-hmm.
something off there, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, I do respect the fact that she did no harm. She just is crazy, but she did no harm. She was helping the community, even though she was lying about her ethnicity. That was a delusion in itself, right? I don't discredit her for the work she did. Now, this Jessica chick, she sounds like a narcissist to me. You keep switching up where you're from, probably based on the audience or based on the subject that you're teaching. And then you outed yourself and write a whole essay about how you have it must be a mental disability that you're going through. She's diagnosing herself with some sort of a mental break. That doesn't make any sense. And you just woke up in 2020 and had this revelation that everything you taught and you're a hypocrite. She said she's not a culture vulture, she's a culture leech.
And that, I'll let you finish, but we're gonna get back to that.
I don't know, like, it just seems very self-righteous to me. Like, I kind of respect Rachel more. Like, we had to find out, like, that she was a fake. This other girl sounds weird to me. Like, you outed yourself after all these years. You just said, you know what? I just feel like she should have just kind of, like, quit and, like, went away. But she just had to make this declaration to the world that she's a liar, that she probably is going through something mentally, and she is a cultural leech, not a culture vulture. Like, it just all seemed very, like, look at me. It was very narcissistic to me. I'm with Rachel Dolezal.
You're with Rachel?
If I had to pick the two, I'd pick Rachel. She stuck out that lie to be bitter, and
she even married her a black man too.
She married a black man, has some black kids. I'm with Rachel. She stuck to the plan. This other girl wants attention. Sorry, Rachel didn't want attention.
She didn't. And the thing about with Rachel, like, I can't even remember. I just remember having a Twitter fight with somebody. The only time I've had a Twitter fight with somebody was about Rachel when it came out. They were saying that somebody could be transracial, and I was like, bro, don't do that. Don't do that. Yeah. I had a whole conversation with somebody, having Twitter fingers, all that. With Rachel, like, the thing about her is I was upset, but, like, girl, why you do this in the most, like, showy way, like, physically, like, presentation? I was just like, you got the Bobby Boss $25 water wave wig and claim to be a black woman. Like, okay, that's what we are, the Bobby Boss wigs. Like, okay, whatever.
Sometimes she had braids.
And her edges were gone. But we ain't gonna talk about that.
Let's be honest. A lot of
we're
people
not doing that. We're not doing that.
It ain't just Rachel, okay?
We're not doing that to our community. We're not doing that today. Nope.
That's a topic for a different video.
Nope. We're not doing it.
Different video.
No. But with, like, it was very performative with Rachel. With Jessica, I actually, not that I like this whole situation, I like that she presented it to us. And here's why. I read the letter. I didn't exactly walk away with the same feeling you walked away with. I walked away with her taking ownership of it. And who knows what brought her to this point. I think if you are publicly portraying to be someone, like, it wasn't like with Rachel, she wasn't necessarily in the public eye as much, if I recall. I can't remember exactly, so excuse me if I'm wrong. But like you said, she was playing normal. Like, it's just life, whatever. This lady, things were adding up, I think, with her. I read her letter where she said she had some traumatic events happen in her life, where just identity association, which is common with, like, kids and people who are not adults and experience some type of trauma or whatever. I did not see her saying that as a way of an excuse, per se. Like, she said in the thing, I think, I took a quote. She says that she doesn't use it as an excuse and to cancel her. I thought it was not funny, but like the phrasing of it, she's like, I cancel myself. I was like, okay, sis, like,
Yeah, see,
that's
like,
what I was like, hold
says
on.
that. This girl is,
You can't, like, what? I think
she's like jumping the gun, like, don't worry. Don't call me a culture vulture. I'm a culture leech. And don't even cancel me because I'm canceling myself.
well,
Like,
she didn't say don't cancel me. She said, please cancel me.
yeah,
Like,
but she's saying, but that's just so, it's kind of like gaslighting. Like, it's just kind of like, I don't know. Nobody asked
I
for
don't
this.
think gaslighting is the right word for that.
It's something like that. Nobody asked for this.
Nobody asked, but the thing about it is we don't know what was going on in her personal life that caused her to get to this point.
I
Maybe
know what
she
it was.
really, huh?
Continue, but I know what it was.
Okay. Maybe there's different factors. She mentioned that she was seeing therapists and that there is some sort of issue going on, and that the therapist was saying that what she was doing but with these identities was, part of what had gone on in her life. So I think it's really her owning up to this. Like Rachel, still to this day, is saying she Black. So that's why I can't respect her. You still running with the lie. It's like the jig is up, Rachel. You not one of us.
But
Sis.
that's how
Like,
you know something is clearly not connecting there. Like, Rachel to me is that's a different case. Something, she clearly has some sort of a disconnect there, because how are you still running with it?
Look, I'm no
However, keep
psychologist,
doing the
so
work.
I can't even answer. I can't answer. And I'm not going to try to figure that out. But with Rachel, I appreciate her owning up to it. Like, I get that. Like, you've been running with this. I don't know how old this lady is, 40, whatever. You've been running with this for maybe over 20 years, and you're doing well. You were at George Washington. You're noticing all of the social injustices happening. Like, how can you sleep well at night when you're pretending to be a Black person and all these social injustices are going on? You're pretending to be a part of the trauma and the fight. Like, maybe that was getting to her. Maybe it was. I don't
How
know.
long does it take? But this is the thing to me. If you are truly educated, you have to be really educated to teach these subjects at a university level. At no point along your a doctorate. At no point along your studies did you say this is not right.
She did say she did that. She said, but she kept pushing. She said that.
Okay, well, I don't care if you came to the revelation and kept going. That doesn't count.
I mean,
that's even worse.
It is worse. But I think I'm not making an excuse for her at all. But I think people have different breaking points. I think she reached that point where it's like, I can't live like this anymore. It took her this long. Yeah, unfortunately. But I'd rather her own up to it than somebody else outing you. Because if you own your own stuff,
Yeah, but the way she owned it to me was very showy and very narcissistic.
It was showy.
I will say this. This is why I think it feels like to me someone was going to out her. So she said, I'm going to do it.
I mean, own your story.
I feel like somebody confronted her and said, or maybe they're trying to blackmail her or something. That it felt like that kind of a letter to me. Like, someone's about to get me, so let me just put it all. I'm going to put it all, because she laid it all out. Called herself all kinds of stuff. Herself. I feel like she did it because someone else was about to do it.
And that could be true. I was reading also like other articles. Her sister-in-law, who she's never met, by the way, because she's so estranged from her family. Like, I read that she didn't even show up to her mother's funeral in 2017. And so her family is now like, oh, we think she didn't show up because she was pretending to be Black this whole time. So apparently her family had no idea she was pretending to be Black this whole time. This whole entire time. So I'm like, I don't even know if somebody knew she was white, because she created this whole world way before we even had social media. So there's like,
I'm sure she had friends, lovers, whatever, who dug and said, hey, there's some holes in this story, Jessica. You're what?
I don't. And maybe they looked up her name because the last name Krug or Krug. That ain't us.
Okay, no, that doesn't count. That doesn't count. It doesn't matter what your last name is.
A lot of roots. You, as you know, with my last name.
Well, that's because you have a Blackfeet last name. But I mean, your last name doesn't count. As we know, the whole slave trade thing. It does. Your last name. No. No.
There's certain last names that you're like, that was not here during slavery.
I have an English last. It's a very white last name.
You do. However, have you ever met a Black person with her last name?
I've never heard of that last name. Period.
Exactly.
That doesn't count.
Like, okay, take for instance, you know how there's some names, like people will be like, you can tell, especially in the entertainment industry, certain last names, you're like, oh, they might be Jewish. Like there's certain last names that you know can attribute to like a group of people or a certain place in the world.
Yep.
Her last name, I don't know where that comes from. And she's
exactly.
Jewish.
You don't know where it comes from.
She's Jewish. Let's see where her last name comes from. She's a white Jewish lady from Kansas City.
All I'm saying is, if she really was of African descent, her last name could be anything.
Okay, here we go. So Krug, I feel like I'm saying that wrong, is a German surname.
Okay, German.
So, I'm just saying, I've never heard anybody have that last name. I'm just saying.
Right, you've just never heard of the last name. I'm saying it's not surprising if somebody is Black who has the last name.
No, with that last name, if she's supposed to be Caribbean in this, that last name would not be that.
Why not?
And I feel like this is a whole history lesson. We have to look at what those last names are that come from out of those places.
Yeah. They had a slave trade just like we did.
But did the Germans do slave trading in the Caribbean?
Yes, they did.
I don't know. Let's see.
But regardless of the fact, maybe she should have dug a little bit deeper and picked a new last name. That's all I'm saying. Maybe. But to me, her last name for me wouldn't tip me off to think that she wasn't anything else. It just wouldn't bother me. I wouldn't be like, something's not right about your last name, bud. I would not think that. I would think probably a lot of other things.
I don't know. Just the Caribbean. I don't think that last name is in the Caribbean. Let me just that's what I'm getting to. If you're talking about you in the Caribbean, I don't think that last name is in the Caribbean.
Well, then again, she also said she was from North Africa, so we don't really know.
Either way, these names aren't matching up with these places.
But she said she was also African American. Long story short,
it
don't matter.
Black people in America?
Don't matter.
Do you know with German last names?
I don't know the descent. I don't know the descent of a lot of names.
But just throw some last names out there.
There's so many last names.
Johnson, Jackson, Brown.
You're picking the typical Black ones. There's so many last names.
I just want to know where the Germans. I just want to know where the Germans in the Caribbean. I just want to find that out. I'm gonna Google that real quick because I feel like she didn't do her research. She didn't.
She didn't. She didn't. But that's okay. But why are you doing research for? She didn't do the research. She had a hole in her story.
But that's her real name. That's like from birth, her name.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like that, the last name is Jewish. Did she really think that was gonna pass through all those different shiftings of?
That's a hole in her story that she decided not to cover up. It's harder to do that. You can't. It's hard to change your last name. She legally had a legal job and a social security number and all that, and she can't really. It's not easy to switch up.
You can change it. She could have changed out of all these years. So apparently Germany let's see, Germany, they were in Jamaica. Yeah, in Jamaica though. But I don't know about Puerto Rico and wherever else she said. I'm just saying. I think I probably, you know who probably caught her? Somebody who was really from the Bronx and was like really Caribbean in the Bronx. It was like, oh, where your people from? Oh, you say you from my island? Oh, what street your grandma grew up on? Oh,
Well, yeah, she told
like
one student she was from Dominican Republic, the other that she was from Puerto Rico, and she got into an argument with another student about who said that rap music originated in Brooklyn, and she said no, it originated in the Bronx where she was from. She was really into this character.
I mean, DJ Cool Herc did make hip hop, but you know, whatever. Whatever. Yeah, all I'm saying is I think she's right about calling herself a cultural elite. Here's why. Here's why. So I was looking at other people's responses to that. They were like, why she call herself a cultural leech versus a cultural vulture? Vultures eat off of things that are dead. A leech sucks the life out of something that is alive. Black culture, Black women, our culture as a whole is still alive. It's vibrant. It's everywhere you turn, whether people want to recognize it or not. And she was literally sucking the life out of it and getting her own nutrients and creating a career, creating this persona that was doing pretty well off, apparently. Like, sis was a whole doctor at George Washington University and had all this. So she was feeding off of it, off of something that was alive. So I'm with the cultural leech. I'm with it. The title, not her doing it, but with I like that a little better. I think people like cultural vulture because like it rhymes.
Yeah, it just rhymes.
Yeah, but cultural leech I think is actually better.
I like cultural appropriator more just because I like big words. But
oh, appropriator is a big word. Okay.
yeah, it's bigger than leech.
I mean, but you got to keep it simple for the people who don't like big words.
Everybody need to get on board. It's cultural appropriation.
Uh-huh.
And I would expect a doctor from George Washington University to use that.
But she wrote the letter in a way that everybody could understand. She knew her audience.
It wasn't me.
It wasn't me either.
Well, you know somebody who is Black and we can affirm that he is?
Who?
Tyler Perry.
Oh yeah, he's Black. He's Black.
Mr. Perry is now a billionaire. Mm-hmm. Congratulations to this man. He has built something we have never seen before. He just seems to keep leveling up in his career. Nothing has plateaued. Like, it's just every time we hear about Tyler Perry, it's just a new accomplishment. It's never like, he just keeps reinventing himself. Like, this man is a literal genius. Whether you like his movies or his shows or not, you can't deny that this man is a genius. He has built something from literally the ground up. He was homeless, abused, and he became a billionaire. That is a self-made man. Like, that, it's amazing.
It's cool. It's really cool to see that, like, in our time, because, you know, just especially with where we are right now, with him basically being one of the only people who was like shooting out TV shows, like left and right. Like they filmed The Oval, they filmed Sisters, you know, they're also doing some more filming of like his TV shows and whatnot. And to have it be like a Black person doing this, because in this industry, there aren't many of us having a whole table, not a seat at the table, but having the whole table, the building, the boardroom, the chairs for other people to sit at. I think that's super dope. Like you said, whether you like his material or not, it is a testament to show that, like, you know, you can break through the different challenges you had in your past or your current situation that you're in now, just to stay on the journey, to keep being persistent. Yeah, you may never make $1 billion. That's not for everybody. That's not everybody's ministry. But success for you can look like pulling your family out of poverty, or paying off certain bills, getting out of debt, like whatever the case may be. I think it just shows that it's possible just with dedication. And of course, he didn't do this all by himself. Like, there's people who had to open the door for him too, and just realizing that we're all working together, whether we're the ones who are going to be the head honcho or not, we're still in that circle together.
Yep.
So.
And I heard that he's trying to build an airport now, so this
man
literally does it all.
Is he trying to add one? It's about to be the Perry Hartsfield Jackson Airport of Atlanta.
If I can avoid the Atlanta Hartsfield Airport and fly into Tyler Perry Airport, I would.
Dude, I love my airport.
That airport is a nightmare.
What?
TSA is awful. It's awful.
Okay,
yeah, like, don't be in a rush.
The only time I love TSA there is when I'm flying American. American's at the end of the terminal, so it has its own TSA, and it's like right there, and all the gates are like right there. You just whoop, whoop, whoop. I'll be running late because I live. Yeah. Anyways, I just be running late.
That's good for y'all, but us people flying Delta be going through it.
Oh no, Delta got its own wing. That's Delta's fault. They had to be.
Well, that's their. Yeah, that's their home base.
Their training center is so cool. So cool. I recommend it. Well, I don't know if everybody could go there, but it's cool. They shot, what's that movie, Flight, there. They did like training there and shot a lot of it there too. Dang, that movie kind of scared me for a minute.
Yeah.
I was like, Denzel Washington, don't be my pilot, please.
Yeah, that movie kind of scared me too.
Yeah, like, that one scene that they have where it's like you in the window seat, and I guess whoever's sitting there, but the camera pans over to the right or to the left, whatever, and you see the wing, and then like it's like fire coming out of it. I love a good window seat, and I just, woo. So no. After that, I was like, yeah, I don't know. So I think we about at time now. We done covered a lot today. There's been a lot going on in the last like 7, 10, 15 days. It's been a lot. That makes me hopeful there's gonna be a lot next week to talk about too.
Hopefully positive things, because I'm sick of being sad and I'm sick of just chaos. I need some answers. I need some clarity. So yeah, that's what I hope for in the next week.
Yeah, I'm hoping for some more entertaining things happening. Y'all funny on Twitter. I like y'all. I like y'all a lot. All the memes and the mannequins. I just want more mannequin memes, please.
No.
Can we bring back the bang again? That was a good time. I just like that a lot.
Nope, that came and went. That came and went.
So, anyways, guys, we hope you have a great rest of your week. It's Wednesday when this comes out. And thank you all so much for hanging out with us today. Make sure to let us know your thoughts about like any of the things we talked about, anything you want us to talk about next time. And follow us on Instagram at @IJustThinkIt'sFunny_pod. So make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Share with your girlfriends, your homeboys, whoever. And come see us next time. So y'all have a great week.